Convergence Resource. This is Renee. How may I help you?
Hi, I'm looking for if I could be connected with her.
May I ask who's calling?
This is Ashlee Tuck.
Ashlee
Tuck, T-U-C-K.
And what is this in regards to?
So I was working for the community, and he had failed to give me or to process my payroll. So I have not been paid for last week.
Okay, you were working.
Yeah, his corporation or foundation is called the community. And so he said that he sends the payroll to, but he went on vacation and he did not process my payroll. So I don't know if I should call Employ Milwaukee or be connected with.
Okay, what's the phone number she can get back to you? She actually just went into a meeting.
Yes.
Okay, I'll give her the message and I'll have her call you back.
Thank you so much.
Sure.
Bye.
Bye.
They hung up. Don't leave a message. Hang on. Don't leave a message. I am calling back. Hold on. Hi, this is Ashlee Tuck. I just got a call from this number.
Well, yes, Ashley, because you called here and I was returning your call.
Is this okay? Great, Doctor. So, who is my boss here? He did not process my check, and I never received a check for last week.
For the last pay period, you mean?
Yes. Within the community. I didn't know if I.
He did mention that to us, and what they told him to do was to put through both checks, both time sheets this time, and then they should both show up on your upcoming check. But he also mentioned that he paid you in cash.
Yeah, he just went on vacation. He didn't even respond to my email about me asking if he received my timesheet for the last two weeks. So he just went on vacation. He came back. So he said he would be bringing me cash personally from his account. So I'm wondering why there isn't like a petty account or petty checks that, you know, that could have been written. So he gave me cash. I waited all night. It wasn't until between 11 and 12 in the morning he stopped over at my house. I have a 1-year-old, so I was asleep with my son. He stopped over. He did not leave the money in my mailbox. He left like an opened envelope. It wasn't even a new envelope. He left an open envelope under the neighbor's flower pot, and it had rained. So he gave me wet cash, and it was short. So that's why I had asked him if I should contact Employ Milwaukee or contact you, Dr. Lassiter, if I could have my check expedited, because I know I told him that that was going to be my last day. I've never been paid like that with wet money, and it'd be missing money.
But he gave you some cash, and what did you do with that cash?
That I still have. Okay. I had to let it dry off. That I still have, but it is short.
Dry it off, and it's still good, right?
Yes.
Okay, so you have that money, and then you also turned in a timesheet for that same pay period?
Yes, that check was not processed. That timesheet was not he went on vacation is what I'm trying to explain. Totally forgot.
Well, no, what I'm saying is 2 timesheets were turned in for you. One for the weeks that you're saying you missed, that, you know, that he didn't turn in a timesheet. And then there's the second timesheet for the time that you just paid. But from what you're saying to me now, you've already received some cash from him for that first pay period that was turned into Employ Milwaukee, so then that would be double pay, correct?
Correct. I'm wondering why my check cannot be expedited since I'm no longer with the company.
Well, I'm wondering why you would be getting paid twice.
This is he said he paid me with personal money. I had asked, since you as my boss just forgot to pay me, how can I receive my check? And he said, I can give you Cash App, I can give you Zelle, or I can give you cash. I've never heard of a business paying with personal money. But if they're employed with Employ Milwaukee. He had paid me, but he paid me short.
You've been paid for that already, so are you waiting for I need to contact employment.
This is not on the books, though, is what I'm trying to explain to you.
You don't do things illegally off the books. If he paid you, he paid you.
And it was short, so I'm wondering why I can't receive the remainder of my money. He paid me only $440, and I believe it was supposed to be like $448 because I had around the same amount of hours. I looked at my bank statements and I saw the taxes, you know, because how are taxes and all of that process for legal reasons, and when I have to process taxes for next year, I want to make sure everything is on the books. I work personally with a tax preparer because I have a business myself. This was not calculated on the books. And I wanted to ask about my bonus because...
Yeah, that doesn't mean it didn't happen though, Ashley. So if he paid you, then all Employment Milwaukee should owe you is the difference. And then there is a timesheet that did go in. The timesheets just went in on Monday for the last 2 weeks. And he did turn that timesheet in because all the timesheets come to me first. So
I'm wondering why I have to wait a month.
Already, that you and him have to work that out. Okay,
and he had failed to pay me for this last week. So I'm wondering why my check is being withheld for work and hours that I had put in. I'm wondering why I have to wait an entire month to receive this check.
Okay, so Employment Milwaukee's pay schedule was given to you guys?
Correct.
I can look at it right and tell you. But
correct.
Nobody's withholding any checks, so I'm not sure why you think that. They're not withholding
the check from last week I have not received.
You don't get paid weekly. You get paid every
bi-weekly.
week.
I have the time, or the pay period sheet. Everyone in the Facebook group said that they were paid on Tuesday. I looked at the sheet for last week. That it should have came no later than Wednesday.
You're just gonna keep talking because I got the documentations right here in front of me. I can answer your question. The timesheets went in on the 3rd. The pay date is the 7th. Today is the 5th. So in 2 more days is when that pay date is supposed to be. That's what the Employment Milwaukee document said.
It was that one's no. The sheet that I got said everybody. Let me just pull it out. Unless this was incorrect information that was given to me, but the timesheet was due March. What was it? March 20th, and the pay period should have been the 29th. There was one that was April 3rd. And so he said I have to wait around April 12th for my next 2 checks to process, correct?
No, April 7th.
To be deposited, or I mean processed by being deposited.
So if you could just listen, Employment Milwaukee has outsources the pay period. They outsource the payment of the check. So they can't, if you miss a check, they can't just cut you a check because they don't cut the check. So it has to come out with the next pay period. So according to what I'm looking at here, we turned in 2 timesheets for you on the 3rd.
Because what could have happened is that we could have, you know, if they would have just turned that timesheet in, even if it was a day late, we could have turned that timesheet in and got it expedited.
When is my bonus supposed to come? Because I had signed something that said after 6 weeks.
Finish the program. You have to finish the program to get the bonus.
I signed a piece of paper that I said, like, at the beginning of this, I was not able to keep any copies of the paperwork that I had filled out. I signed a piece of paper. It said you must complete at least 6 weeks of the onboarding process to be qualified for your first bonus. And so I assumed at 6 weeks I would get my bonus. I'm calling, we're 2 months in, and then he sounds confused. He says you're withholding information from him and withholding information from us. So I shouldn't even have called to ask these questions to you.
No, I shouldn't say that to you. Okay.
I have it on video that I have a voice. I recorded our last conversation, and he said you were withholding information, so he couldn't tell us anything.
That's the case, and like she didn't even know about it at all when we brought it up. So when we first brought it up, she said, "I don't know anything about this," and she responded with some letter and said that yeah, this is what it is actually, and then it again was not very clear. She said have submit documentation of the hours they worked with this document. Like this isn't a document. This is just letting us know what the bonus situation is. And she's never responded to that actually twice now, almost like purposely not responding. And then she kind of had like an angry response about, I told you all to submit with the document. A little later when I asked again, so I think I might have to just follow up with the because she's not really being clear at all, but she has said that it's not until the end, and she told that as well, that it's not until the end that the bonus is given. So I'm not even sure about the 3 times because she didn't answer that either. So if you can find out from her, that would be great, but I have to follow up with the.
If you'd like to hear that video, I can send you the link.
That's fine. So for the first week, it's on March 6th, 7 to 11. On March 7th, 7 to 11. On March 8th, 7 to
I have the copy of that, but I'm asking for my taxes. What is the correct balance so that I can make sure if I was paid my full amount? I have to wait until April 12th or April 7th?
Yeah.
Can I talk to you? Do you have some time to talk?
Sure.
So I was calling because I'm not for sure what happened
Mm-hmm.
or what's going on, but I was notified by our department, our department that works with our internet and things like that, and all of that type of stuff. That you posted a video and tagged us in that video as well too,
Mm-hmm.
of saying some disparaging things, and just trying to find out what's going on or what happened.
Oh yeah, so I used to work with Shannon Ross of the community, and I filled out like the paperwork, and I guess I was going to be paid through Employ Milwaukee. So Shannon, last week, he failed to process my payroll, and he just went on vacation.
We would never condone you to be paid cash, let alone wet cash under a a flower pot or anything of the sort. Thank you for bringing that to our attention. We need to have a conversation with Convergence Resource Center in order to keep it professional, because that's not something that we condone or something that we're looking at doing or anything of the sort. Along with those timesheets as well too, because what could happen is that we could have, if they would have just turned that timesheet in, even if it was a day late, we could have turned that timesheet in and got it expedited. Information in which was disseminated to you was totally incorrect and shouldn't have happened this way. I just got out of an hour and a half long meeting with our CEO, and she was not pleased with this at all.
Mm-hmm.
Just in general, of just finding out that this happened, but then also too, just even knowing that Employ Milwaukee had nothing to do with all of what was going on, but we're taking the wrath of what they're doing and what's happening and things like that.
Mm-hmm.
What you went through, our name is on the line, because a lot of people didn't know, Employ Milwaukee was working with this individual, we were working with this entity and things like that. You just knew, like in that situation, you just knew Employ Milwaukee.
Mm-hmm.
So on our end, not only do we want to make it right with you, but if we have other people that we're working with that aren't doing it the way that we've trained them to do,
mm-hmm.
we shouldn't be working with them.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what this meeting is about.
I had decided to leave after I received the wet money in that whole situation.
Can you tell Sarah about the wet money and how it was delivered?
Yeah. So this was all discussed in the Facebook group. Shannon forgot to just submit my pay stub, so we have to go into his Adobe account to download our payroll sheet. I have like a digital copy of this, to download this with our hours written, and so it can be a signable form for Shannon to sign off on. He only is responsible for 2 people, so I don't know how he forgot about me. It was me and Megan. He just did not submit my form, and he went on vacation or something. So he was on a plane, and he said, I'll give you cash, my personal cash, when I get back or get home. And so, or later back this evening. This was all said in the Facebook group chat. And it wasn't until between like 11 and 12 in the morning that he stopped by my house to drop off money. And I didn't want to just have my address in the group chat, so I text messaged him my address. And he left the money in, I'll just show you a picture. He left the money under my neighbor's flower pot. I live in a duplex, but the numbers are on my mailbox. And he said I didn't want to leave it at the wrong mailbox. So he left it under a flower pot, and there was a thunderstorm. it was a used envelope. So it was open, there was wet money, and the back of the envelope was covered in mud. So back to this time.
And how much did he give you?
He gave me $440, I believe. But I kept asking, so in the Facebook message group, he said I can do Zelle, Cash App, or Venmo, or I can give you cash. And I just kept asking, can I please have a check? I just would like, or do you have a petty check? And he didn't know what that was. You get like you know, so it's not coming out of somebody's pocket directly and there'd be a whole situation. Because I do my own bookkeeping. And anyway, so like I didn't get paid. From his mouth and from Dr. Lassiter's, I kept getting a broad range from between Tuesday and Friday I would get paid throughout this 6-month program I was doing. So I didn't get paid, and my account went into the negatives because I had my electricity bill that pulled because I'm expecting to get paid. And he's like, well, that's not my problem. But you didn't submit my pay form. I submitted on Friday. I submitted every other Friday for it to process on Monday. So you have 3 days to make sure you check your emails. So my account went into the negatives because I had an automatic bill that pulled. He said it's not my fault. I called Dr. Lassiter. This is the piece of paper that I was given of when we're supposed to get paid. And so the last one was supposed to be March 29th. So let me pull out my calendar. Let's see what day that was exactly. March 29th was a Wednesday. I wait until the 30th because they said between Tuesday and Friday I could get paid. My husband gets paid every Friday. He can expect a check, you know, every Friday. And so it's just like never knowing when you're going to get paid. It's just what? And so I waited until March 30th. I go back into the group chat with Megan and Shannon. I said, I didn't get paid. And Megan's like, I got paid on Tuesday. So she got paid a day early from, this pay date says March 29th. Right here. And so I'm asked, and then I called Dr. Lassiter, and I'm like, so I just have to wait an entire month until I can get paid? And until like this check that processed this past Tuesday of this week with both of my pay stubs had come through. So she's just like, well, yeah, I mean, he tried to make it up and pay you cash. So you know, you should give him his money back when you get paid. And
that's a shame, but again, thank you again for sharing all this information.
Yeah.
with us, Ashley, really appreciate it. Thanks again.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, we will definitely be in contact. I'll be in contact in the next week or two.
Okay, thank you so much, guys.
Thank you, Ashley.
Mm-hmm.
Take it easy.
You too. Bye.
Bye.